Alright, so last night, after a 2.5, almost 3 weeks hiatus, where I had to wait for a part because I broke one of the hubs, I've got the second tier up. The third tier is just 5 struts and a hub, and it goes there. So the new hub, because the company I was working with evidently is no longer in existence, is this black one here. It's a lot more expensive. It's actually, for a whole dome this size, would be 10 times more expensive, but I really like them. So there is an option for using metal pipe on these hubs for $300 less, which still puts them about 7 times more expensive, but I'm probably going to order that for the next dome. And if they ever come down in price, I will redo this dome with the new hubs. And the good thing is I can do that by just replacing the plastic when it's time and putting the new hubs on the outside. They don't go on the inside like the old ones. Like I said, the beam, they have channels that the boards sit into and then hook into. So they're really secure versus these. While they work, if they were metal, I'd be more happy with them. In fact, I might try to find a manufacturer around that would make metal ones. Or figure out the angles and learn welding myself. So, putting this second tier up took 3 people, about an hour, maybe a few minutes longer, but boy was it interesting, because as you put the hubs up, it's about, I say, to that hub to the ground is about 14.5, 15 feet, which means that you had to block things, and I used the IBC, the cinder blocks, and I had to block 5 of them, because there's actually only 5 hubs up there. It's that one, the blue, the short hubs, struts go up, the long struts in between. So you have to put the strut up and then connect it to the next one that has strut up. And you had to get 3 of those together, then come back, fill in the V's, the angled 8-footers, and then continue on to the next 2 and do the same thing. And once it was all tied together, everything then was able to be shifted, and all the angles and the struts fit perfectly in the channels, and it was good to go. The good thing about the new hubs is there's no movement. Once you actually put them in the channels, the angle for all directions is secure, so there's no movement. Like I said, I'm going to be switching over to the next dome, to that, and eventually replace this dome with those hubs. So, today's project, besides putting the final tier on, the top tier, is first thing this morning before my help comes, is the door needs to go in. Once the door is framed and in, I'm going to use 2x6s. That way, as they come in a little bit or go out a little bit, they will be flush, and then I can have the door on the inside. Once the door's up, we'll put the final hubs in, come around, put the extra set of screws in and everything, pull the raised bed in, put it on the side, put the IBC over to the side there, put it on the blocks and raise it up, and it'll be ready for the plastic and the shade cloth. And then this ready for the plants. I can get the plants in here, and then I can then get some of them planted in the ground, put an arrangement in the pots. I still have over this way clearing over the winter. I want to put one more dome in this area, and it'll connect with a short walkway here, and then off that dome going that way I want to put a high tunnel. Things like banana plants and that can go down the center, and that will be my production area for plants to sell. And then this area, of course, will be cleared out, and this is where the garden beds are going to go. I think I'm going to, I've played around with many types of raised beds, but I think I'm going to go with cinder block raised beds eventually, to 20-foot beds, 5 foot wide, 6 foot wide or so. And that way I can set 5-foot posts and put bird netting over them, because I'm having a lot of issues with critters eating stuff. We had a visit from javelinas last night. They got onto the property because it's not fully fenced, and ate a lot of the blue agave, tequila agave they were, and some of the other things by knocking the pots around. Of course, we're looking at the chickens right now. They're really secure in their runs. I've had visits by great horned owls and other things, and they've not been able to get in. What I've done to secure the wire on the bottom is put rebar, 10-foot lengths, and then bent rebar stakes that hook over those and sunk into the ground 24 inches to hold them in place. Not got a lot of work done on finishing. I still have the shade cloth and the last 2 bays to do. But I've been working on other projects, and we've had some really cold nights. So the hydroponics house, which you can barely see over there, is completely done with plastic. Eventually I'll put something like Solex panels, the rigid twin wall poly panels up and be rigid. For plastic for the next year or so it'll work. Right now, once that plants come out over into the greenhouse, the dome, I can use that as storage and empty the storage container until I get the studio / shop built. Alright, time to start my day. I will do one more video on this build as soon as the plastic's done.